Hey everyone, this is Gareth and I run Zenithfilms. I make short films and feature films. I have a team of actors I work with on the regular, and we make films based on my ideas. Some of my films are based on existing IPs, and some are wholly of my own design. Ever since I started writing, I have always been interested in female protagonists, so for the most part that's what you'll see, and more often than not portrayed by the wonderful Olwen Davies. I find most of my influences come from my nostalgia for video games and early Japanese anime, so usually stuff from the 80s and 90s. You've probably already noticed that I use a specific style in my work. Some refer to it as animated graphic novels, but most say it reminds them of Sin City. So if you like a heavy use of art style, fever dream environments, a large dose of violence, science fiction and horror, then you'll most likely enjoy my output. My projects are crowdfunded, so I can pay my actors, buy props and hire costume designers. Rather than make short films for festivals, I instead create proof of concepts for our crowdfunding pitches. A proof of concept is basically a trailer that depicts the story, the actors and the art style I'm going to use. I really believe that a proof of concept is necessary before a crowdfunding pitch can be successful. I want to show potential backers how the project would look, what it will be about, how it will be directed, acted and edited. Showing that first gives the project a higher chance of successfully raising its budget. I also think having a proof of concept up front shows a real level of commitment from the team. As I am one man making as much as I can, there is generally a long waiting period between my projects and videos on the channel. Pre and post production of a movie takes a long time, so I'm attempting to fill that void with Zenithfilms Play. Currently a haphazard and random series of me playing video games that have influenced me. And sometimes I am joined by special guests. So we're in there, axe, no, that, use. You take the axe in both hands and take a swing at the guard sat at the pool. Whabosh!
Go!
Quick, we need the gun. Use. You reach into your coat and take hold of the gun. Boom! Yeah, I just killed 2 innocent people. So let's get to what is coming soon from Zenithfilms. I've got a few ideas I'm working on. Some have release windows, but most are when it's done. So I'll go through them in alphabetical order to keep it simple. Up first is Carmen Sandiego. For those that don't know, Carmen Sandiego was originally a series of educational video games on early PCs, designed to help children learn stuff like geography, history, science and math. The titular Carmen is the antagonist, generally stealing something in regards to the subject matter, and the player tries to catch her. These games led to live action shows and a cartoon in the 90s. That was followed up recently on Netflix with an origin story cartoon. You know, her early years, before she became a criminal. Our project was born out of Olwen's nostalgia for the franchise. We were working in the studio around a decade ago and she mentioned Where in Time is Carmen Sandiego was a childhood favourite. The very next day, I saw a red jacket in the store and figured, well, that's her jacket, there's got to be an idea here. And I bought it. Its full title is Where in the Universe is Carmen Sandiego, which pretty much sums it up. The plot follows Carmen as she jumps between various planets stealing specific items for specific purposes, while a member of Interpol attempts to stop her. I've completed the proof of concept and my plan is to release that and the crowdfunding pitch in the middle of 2025, looking to raise around $5,000 to make it feature length. Second on this list is Episode. Episode started life as a short film I shot after graduating. It's clearly inspired by the video game Deadly Premonition and therefore also Twin Peaks. The short film is a psychological horror of sorts, designed to have a few interpretations on what is actually going on. The short did really well for itself, premiering at the 20th Raindance Film Festival. So boosted by that success, I got to writing more episodes of Episode. My original plan was to make a series that featured the same characters, but episodes wouldn't follow on from each other, and would sometimes take place in different worlds. We filmed another 2 episodes until I decided on a different approach. Instead, I'm going to put all of the footage into one feature-length movie. The film will follow Special Agent King and Special Agent Ramona as they complete bizarre investigations in a place known only as Derelict City. With the original inspiration of Episode being a video game, I did use other video game styles in the short, and I'm going to continue that idea in the feature as well. I'm currently inspired by early Japanese PC games from the PC-98 and X68000. This feature film version is in post-production, so I hope to have it completed by 2026, but you can watch the short film version on the channel right now. Third on the list is Liark. This is one of my newer projects, inspired jointly by the video game Life on Earth and Mary Winstead's movie Kate. This idea grew in my head with a focus towards the style and narrative uses from 80s and 90s anime, when anime was largely all cyberpunk. So stuff like Bubblegum Crisis, Parasite Dolls, Cyber City Oedo 808, Detonator Organ, Geno Cyber, Virus Buster Surge, and Angel Cop, to name a few. So the idea is that this film will look like a live action anime, even including its art style. This is also where the title Liark comes from. The letters are taken from its original title Life in Dark, and then following a sort of tradition in Japanese gaming titling, when 2 seemingly unrelated words, usually English and sometimes German, are put together because it looks and sounds cool. For example, Runark. So basically, this is my first attempt at a live action cyberpunk horror. The horror in this will be Lovecraftian of a sort. I wrote a script that highlights the themes and turned that into a 21-page storyboard. The story is set in an undisclosed future and follows Miranda, a scientist who is working with a pathogen that was discovered on a mining asteroid. Unfortunately, all is not what it appears, and soon she is fighting her way across the city to destroy the original sample before it infects the entire world with a madness that spreads. We filmed 80% of the proof of concept last year, with Olwyn playing Miranda, and I'm looking at a release window and funding pitch for late 2026. Fourth on the list is Parasite Eve. Much like my recent release of Syndicate Wars Hostile Takeover, this project was filmed around a decade ago and got put on the back burner so I could work on a funded project. I have done some post-production work on this already, there's a work in progress on the channel, but looking back on it I'm going to rework it as I've learnt a lot of new techniques since making that. This is also the only project that has some outdoor shots filmed very early one chilly Sunday morning. I think this will end up being a short film or trailer rather than a proof of concept, largely because the actress playing Aya is no longer living in the UK. So like Syndicate Wars, it'll be a project for the channel instead. But of course that's not to say that if there is a want for it, I can do a pitch for a budget and with that get Erica into the UK to film. The narrative for this one fits in between Parasite Eve 1 and 2. Aya is in the transition from cop to agent, with some style choices from The Third Birthday. Not currently sure when this will be finished. This is one I'll work on in between other projects. Fifth on the list is probably the most anticipated project for our fans. That's the sequel to Silent Hill Requiem, Silent Hill Lazarus. Set 16 years after Requiem, Lazarus continues the story of Cheryl and James as a new person turns up in Silent Hill. Cheryl's daughter, Jessica. Due to not reaching our funding goal, this sequel is now going to be a feature film, as opposed to the original idea of making it into a 12-part web series. Thanks to assistance from the Gaming Muse, who also consulted on the script for Requiem, I have finished the screenplay and am now finalising the storyboards. There is a Zenith update on the channel right now that details how this project has changed, so be sure to check that out when you're done here. We begin filming Lazarus later this year, and I hope to start editing it in the first half of 2026. 6 on the list is TLE. TLE is basically my Blade Runner. The 1992 director's cut of Blade Runner is my all-time favourite film. Deckard as a replicant, I will die on this hill. And I've wanted to turn my passion for it into a dark dystopian cyberpunk noir of my own. TLE is set in the year 2123 and takes place in the city of New Babel. In this dystopian future, the world flooded when the moon moved closer to the Earth, and those that survived live on floating cities. Tlee, played by Olwen, is a humanist. These are individuals whose body rejects the implant of a nadir port. The port allows access to the virtual world of Xenace, and without access to Xenace, she is locked out of pretty much everything, unable to get a job and unable to live anywhere but in the gutters of the city. So it's a bit bleak for Tlee, and the film opens up with her committing suicide. But rather than the sweet embrace of death, she finds herself in a red room with a woman who looks just like her. This other version of Tlee calls herself G and offers her a job opportunity. Kill a whole lot of people for her and Tlee can rest in peace. Currently this project is in production. I filmed around 70% of it, so expect a release in the latter half of this decade. And 7th on this list is Tomb Raider, Lara Croft and the Silver Key. This is another new project we're working on, although I wrote and storyboarded it around 8 years ago. We have filmed 70% of the proof of concept, and I hope to start editing it later this year. This story takes Lara and her mother from the Legend timeline, and mixes in Lovecraft's writings. Lara is told that to find her mother she must open the Gates of Dreams, and to do that she requires the Silver Key, an artifact located in a secret tomb underneath Rhode Island. I'm hoping to release the proof of concept in or around 2026 with a pitch to turn this into a feature-length movie. And that's my list. So if you like what you're seeing and want to help out, here's some ways of doing that. You can check out our Etsy store and pick up some merch. You could become a patron. Buy us a coffee over on Ko-fi, make a donation via PayPal, or keep an eye out for the crowdfunding pitch of the project that you want to see realised and become a backer. And if all of that is beyond your means, simply subbing, liking, commenting and sharing my work is appreciated just as much. Speaking of patrons, here is the current list of Zenithfilms patrons who help me out more than they know. Please consider becoming my next patron over on Patreon from $1 a month. Thank you for watching. I hope this has found you well and safe, and as always, all the best.